he's looking at me like, "Hey, what's up, buddy?" And I'm just like, are you God?" And he goes, "Most of the time," like kind of looking at me sarcastically, like, "You don't recognize me? Like, why would you ask? You know I'm God." And I'm just like, but I also see like Jesus. I can feel like Jesus's presence in you too. And he's like, yeah, sometimes. I'm like looking at him and I'm like, being an omnist, I'm seeing these other images. Like, I even asked him, I'm like, but I see Buddha in you too. And if you've ever seen like Buddha, he's always got that little meek smile and he's usually got that jolly, laughy feel to him. And I'm just like, but I see Buddha in you too. And immediately he does that smile and that jovial laugh. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, I'm back. It took a while. I thought I had it covered. I was drowning in denial. My God, so divine. Leave the 99 to find that one. Felt like I was done, finished. Cut that second wind, replenished.
Welcome to the Light Your Art podcast. Today's guest is Bryan Duszczak. So let's just jump into it. I want to know what life was like before your experience.
Sure. Average life. I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago. I was kind of lucky. My dad got remarried when I was about 7 years old to a very spiritual woman. She was open to a lot of things, a little bit of Christianity, but she was pretty much an omnist, if you know what that is. Someone that looks into like all the beliefs and doesn't prescribe to just one set system, realizing that I don't think everybody knows what happens when you die or, the true everything about God. So she was open to a lot of things and exposed me to a lot of things. And I was kind of lucky to kind of have that perception. I had been baptized twice by with my real mom, went to Bible studies as a kid, spoke out about some things that didn't quite ring right with me and got kicked out of Bible studies. But luckily, when I was 7, I was open to a lot of things. She talked about Buddha. She meditated. She actually had us go to wakeful dreaming courses as a kid, if you're familiar with that, where it's like basically a group meditation, um, which was really enlightening for me as a kid. Just a lot of different exposures to spiritual stuff. So, growing up, uh, in the suburbs, you get kind of hooked into the whole chasing the cheese and the wheel kind of thing and get back into the corporate life. And that's what I was doing um, throughout the early 2000s, 2012. I was working for a better known company, basically selling custom clothing and apparel, making great money doing it. But I'd kind of lost my way spiritually and was just focused on chasing that cheese. And I'd gained a lot of weight, man. I was steady at like 160 most of my life, and I had blown up beyond 240, 250 ish. I stopped looking at the scale, man. I looked like I was 9 months pregnant, and was sitting there eating a cheese, bacon, onion pizza, sucking down a Sierra Mist 2 liter, and started feeling a pain on the right side underneath my ribs right here, and the shortness of breath, the ringing in the ears, the panicky feeling of losing your breath. I don't know if you've ever had tunnel vision before, but it was coming and it was coming quick. So I asked my wife at the time to take me to the hospital and stepped out of the car. She drove off. And I literally thought I was dying. I was lucky to just even make it in the hospital. I couldn't hear right, the ringing in the ears. I could barely see. And I looked to my left, and it was time to fill out some paperwork. But I couldn't even pull my wallet out of my pocket. I was not functioning correctly. And I looked to my right, and thank God, man, there was an orderly, in that blue green smock that they wear in the hospitals, pushing a gurney. And I just looked over at him, and I attempted to say, "Help me" or something. I put my hand out, and that's when it happened, man. I literally died right there on the spot. I fell to the floor, at least my body did, but I actually remember watching my hand and my arm and then the back of my head fall to the floor. And I realized in that moment, I have kind of, I hate to say played around, but I've been astral before. I've done astral projecting at least 3 or 4 times that I recall when I was younger. And usually when you do that, there's like a cord connecting you to your like your belly button area that you're still attached to your body in some way. Immediately I realized I was astral, and I looked down and there's no cord. And it just dawned on me in that moment, like, I'm dead. This is what they talk about when when you hear about people having out of body experiences when they die. And yep, I'm in it. But what was strange was your perception totally changes. I realized that I have no eyes, and in my brain, in that first like 3 seconds, I'm trying to like figure out like how can I see, but yet I have no eyes. I can hear things going on around me, but I have no ears. I realized that like my spirit, or whatever you want to call it, my soul, is like feeling the vibration of everything around me, but yet I'm interpreting it as sound, if that makes sense. And I'm seeing, but again, I don't have eyes, but like my soul is able to interpret light in such a way that I can still, whatever I focus my attention at is what I could see. And again, in that 5 seconds, time's a lot different. Uh, I guess when you're on the other side, or whatever you want to call it, but like whatever I would focus my attention on, the first thing I remember was the handles of when you push the gurney. I looked at that metal, and when you focus your attention on it, you could like sense the molecular density of whatever you're focusing on. I could feel the coldness. I could feel steel. I've compared it before of like if you were to lick something metal, you know how you can like taste it. I was feeling that feeling, like I could understand basically how it tasted, how it smelled, how it felt, like the molecular structure of that piece of metal on the gurney. And I'm like, well, what is that? And I looked at one of the nurses' clothing, the smock that she was wearing. As I looked at it, I could feel like the material of what it was made of. I could sense what it would taste like had I licked it. I could feel it's kind of hard to explain when you're not limited by the senses of regular touch, taste, smell, hear, all the above. When you're in soul form or spirit form, you lose all those restrictions. It's really hard to explain, but I realized then and there, like, yeah, I am absolutely dead, and there was nothing more than what I wanted was I have to get back in my body. I had this overwhelming feeling that I didn't finish a mission here. Like there's something more that I was supposed to do. It was a very panicky feeling, like God's going to be mad at me if I don't get back in my body and finish my mission and do what I was supposed to do here, as if I already knew that I had chosen to be Bryan for a short period of time. Does that make sense? Like your soul is your timeline from the beginning to the end, but being Bryan was just this little fragment of the full experience of what you are as a soul, if that makes sense. And in that moment, I was having I guess you could say, a spiritual panic attack. Yeah, I was really like upset. If you could have an adrenaline rush, like if you've ever been in that in body form, I was having that, but outside of myself. Like there was nothing more than I wanted to get back in my body and finish my mission. And then that's when only way I can explain it is I felt a very big energy coming at me from literally at my right, like right where my hand is, not even 3 feet from me. And I focused my attention there. And son of gun, if I'm not in the presence of God, uh, it was just a glowing humanoid. Did you ever see the movie Cocoon by chance? Do you remember that movie? They found some aliens in their swimming pool, and these eggs were in there, and this egg cracks open, and this humanoid light body comes out. And that's very close to what I was looking at. Are you familiar with Alex Gray? He's a very like psychedelic kind of artist. You might have seen some of his stuff before if you look him up, but it was a combination of one of those light bodies in Cocoon, and then just the colors swirling within it, like the prisms, just all kinds of spectrums of a prism of light. And I just looked at it, man. I was dumbfounded. You can feel, I felt like I was blanketed by some sort of loving energy. You could just see all these little prisms of light within it. And immediately I was stunned, but I was humbled. I just knew immediately, like, that's God. Yet I had to ask it just to be sure, I just, as humbly as you could, I was just like, oh my God, are you God? And he's looking at me like, hey, how's it going? How you been? I compared it before to like maybe if you're at a bar and you see an old friend talking to somebody and you tap him on the shoulder and he turns around and you're both like, hey, that's exactly how it felt. He's looking at me like, hey, what's up, buddy? And I'm just like, are you God? And he goes, most of the time, like kind of looking at me sarcastically, like, you don't recognize me? Like, why would you ask? You know I'm God. And I'm just like, but I also see like Jesus. I can feel like Jesus's presence in you too. And he's like, yeah, sometimes. I'm like looking at him and I'm like, being an omnist, I'm seeing these other images. Like, I even asked him, I'm like, but I see Buddha in you too. And if you've ever seen like Buddha, he's always got that little meek smile and he's usually got that jolly, laughy feel to him. And I'm just like, but I see Buddha in you too. And immediately he does that smile and that jovial laugh. I'm like, wow. And I'm like, but I can feel like this presence of like something ancient, like time. And I was like, are you also Krishna? And immediately he showed me like this blue self, is the only way to explain it, and did some sort of, I don't know if you've ever seen like Krishna does this thing with his arms. I can't really remember exactly how it goes, but like he showed me his blue self, does the arm lock, and has this like crown that you actually see in some of the images of Krishna. And that's when it just hit me like, oh, I'm an omnist. Like, that's why I like just realized right then, you are God. You are the things that doesn't matter which deity or messenger or whatever it is that you believe in, it's still all messengers of the one big thing, which is God. And in that moment, he says, ah, you're remembering quickly this time. And I'm like, what do you mean? And it just hit me like this time, like, oh, I've been here a jillion times in between lives, other forms. He's an ever consistent thing that's always there, that as I go through my lives and now in this one, he remembers me. It just, this time I'm remembering again, if that makes sense, that you're the one, you're God. And he was actually kind of gave me like a thumbs up, like, ah, you remembered quickly this time. Like, he remembers me before all my other lives prior, and that I keep coming back to the in between lives, and he's there, he's the same remembering me. And it was just, it dawned on me like, oh, that explains some things. Like, that's why I'm an omnist in this lifetime, and that's why I see you as all the combined deities is what God is. And immediately I was like, all right, look, now that I recognize you, I remember you, and obviously remember me. Like, what do I got to do when I get back in my body? Like, I got to get back in my body. I didn't feel my mission. And that's just when he was like, hey, calm down, relax, everything's fine. Bro, I could literally try to explain the feeling that you feel from being in a mad panic, right? Being in this weird adrenaline rush outside of my body. When his presence was there, man, the best I could explain it in humanoid terms is like the comfort of laying in your grandma's bosom. She's reading you your favorite bedtime story. You're eating a warm oatmeal cookie. You're petting a puppy, and you're like there in front of a fireplace. It was just all things good. I felt so safe, so secure, so loved, so comfortable. There is nothing really that gives words for it, but that's as close as I can say, man. I felt almost complete. Uh, Safe, all those things. It was just love, man. It just radiating this loving energy, and it was probably the greatest feeling that I can ever explain that I've ever had. At least I can recall in this lifetime. It was phenomenal, and again, I had this not horrible, but this undying urge, like I have to get back in my body. I have to complete my mission. And I just said to him, what do I need to do? I didn't ask to get in my body again. I didn't ask for forgiveness. I basically, I don't want to say I demanded, but I was like, look, when I get back in my body, what do I need to do? And it's kind of hard to explain. Have you seen The Matrix? I'm sure. Remember when he plugged in and wanted to learn kung fu, and like that they just downloaded it into him? It's a lot like that, because the second I said it, I was like, what do I need to do when I get back in my body? Literally before I even finished the thought, I want to say telepathically, although I hear a voice, I don't have any ears, so it's coming to my soul. Looking back, I realized it wasn't sent to me in the English language, although I interpreted it into English. But the very first thought when I get back in my body was aspirin, water, and citrus peels. I don't know why or how I knew that. I never read anything about that, but yet that was the first thought that came in my head. And in that moment, I realized, okay, wait, if I ask more questions, will they come at me this way? So I asked another one, okay, what do I need to do when I get past that point and I need to maintain my body and get healthy again? And that was a very big answer, a download. Like I said, just like in the Matrix, learning kung fu, there was a series of words that I don't, some I know but never thought about, and then words that I never heard before. Moringa seeds, sea moss. He was telling me the intermittent fast, no more sodas, no more dairy, carbs, like all these things. Just as fast as I could ask my friend, as fast as I would receive it. Just I don't know if you've ever had the thought, but like if you were to meet God, what questions would you ask him? And over the time of 43 years, I realized that I had like a book of questions in my head that I wanted to ask God. And in noticing that, I pretty much took the book and just, here you go, started asking questions. And I don't know how to really explain it, but those downloads that I was getting, the first few questions, all of a sudden my bandwidth, just as far as receiving those messages, expanded 100-fold. And I realized like that book had many chapters of questions, and I just threw it to him basically, mentally, like, okay, how about these questions? And as fast as I could ask, it was like, again, just like the Matrix, I'm just getting downloads so much that I don't even think, like, if you were to get those downloads in your human form, I think your head would explode. I literally think it was like terabytes and terabytes. It felt like of data just came into my soul. That's the only way to explain it, man. And it's kind of weird now that I'm back on this side. I don't have that recall to at the moment to remember what it was I was taught from those questions that I asked, if that makes sense. But within that moment, as I'm getting these downloads, it was almost like my subconscious kind of took over, and I focused on something else, even though while my subconscious is still in the presence of God and I'm still receiving those downloads. Like, I guess I could only say the subconscious of me was like, hey, wait a minute. You've been here before. You know this place. There's more. And I'm like, what? And all of a sudden, I guess I could only describe it as a note or a frequency or even maybe a sound. But if you could say like the bass line, you know what a ohm is, right? When ohm, I was feeling that hum of an ohm, but yet the frequency changed to from like, ohm, like literally all my focus, and I could literally feel my soul body go up outside of Earth's atmosphere. And all of a sudden, my perception was, and this is no BS, my brother, I am looking down at Earth, but yet I don't see it physically as you would with the eyes. I can see gold. The Earth was surrounded by gold, and everything that I was seeing, much like Matrix vision, when you can start seeing like alive things. Like if you remember, buildings were green and the ground was green, cars were green, but actual alive things like the cat, the food, the people all turned with that gold hue to them. That's what I was seeing, but it was Earth from quite a few miles away. And in this moment, I kind of realized like I have also been here before. And it got really weird because I started hearing voices. I don't want it to sound like I'm psycho or anything, but I could literally hear voices. And if you really listened and tuned into it, there is no doubt in my mind that I was hearing people that were in the in between that had recently died. I remember the first voice that was the most clear to me was like this Korean girl, and she couldn't be maybe 10, 11, 12 years old, but I could hear her say, Mom, where are you? My I was swimming in the like a pond or something, and her foot got stuck in the mud, and she's saying like, it's cold, it's dark here, Mom, where are you? And I could realize that this girl, I could sense it. I could almost even smell the swamp water. This girl had just drowned like within a few minutes ago and is also in the in between. And then I heard a old man's voice. It was either like Martha or Margaret, and you could hear him say, Margaret, where are you? He's like, all I remember is the truck lights coming around the corner, and then like I could feel the sense of him realizing that he's just passed away, and he's calling out to his wife. He's in the in between right now. The third voice I heard, I didn't catch a name, but I could tell he was about 17ish, Midwestern accent, young boy. And you could just hear him kind of talking to himself in the in between. He's like, man, I took all those pills. I was really depressed. I couldn't take the pain anymore. My mom's going to miss me, but I couldn't take the pain anymore. So wherever I was, I am hearing the calls and the cries of the people that are in between, trying to find answers, that are scared, that are worried, like I just was moments ago when I had passed. I don't know what that bandwidth is, what that frequency is, but I was dead in it. And, down to my left, I'm looking at the earth, but up to my right, I look and there are these other light bodies much bigger than what I was at the time, much like the God that I had originally met, that are there talking to these people that are in the in between and trying to calm them and, explain things that they're going through and, consoling them and helping them with their souls into their next phase, whatever that is, as far as their next lifetime, what dimension they're going to, if they're going back, whatever the case is. But I just kind of sat there. I'm looking down at these people in the in between, and I'm looking up at these people on the right, how they're helping them. And in that moment, I realized that's why I remember this frequency, because I've literally been in this position before, meaning not only, yes, have I been in the in between as those people that were dying down below or had just died, but I was also at one point, I know this area because I used to work here. This is where I've helped people in the in between, as far as, you know, uh, I guess helping them when they just passed. And I'm looking up at these two other light bodies, and I'm like, I felt like, should I even be here right now? I've described it as the feeling of maybe if you were trespassing in a closed abandoned mall and you just got caught, by a security guard. I look up and one of those light bodies just kind of looked down at me in space and was just like, and I'm just like, hi, like, should I be here right now? And the first light body that recognized me starts nudging the other one next to him and was like, hey, look who it is. It's, and said a name that I can't repeat. It's not able to be said with a human mouth. There was a noise, a sound, a frequency, but he called me by a name that I recognized within my soul. Like, this entity literally knew me. And I'm just like, hi, like, am I okay? And he's like, it's you. He's like, wait, what are you doing here? You shouldn't be here right now. It's not your time yet. What about your mission? And I'm like, I know, I'm trying to get back in my body. Like, can you get me back down there? I'm trying to figure this out. I just don't remember my mission. Can you give me a clue? Like, what am I supposed to be doing? And as he's nudging the other one's like, wait, hey, wait a minute. Like, buddy, you knew this was going to happen. You knew you were going to die. You knew you were going to come up here and you left me something to give you. And I'm like, huh? Like, what do you mean? And he's like, wait, I'll be right back. And kind of just like poofed off as if he was walking to a janitor's closet in the office to go get something. And the other first entity that well, not God, but this new entity was just like, so how's it going down there? And I felt like I was giving him like a mission report, like Stardate 217. And I'm just like, literally, I'm like, hey, man, they're poisoning the water down there. They're poisoning the food. People are suffering. We're all stuck in this weird economy. Like, we shouldn't have to pay to be on Earth. We didn't choose that. Like, we need to change some things. I'm like, you need to send help. We need more warriors down here to fix this. And they're like, we have been. That's why you're here. You're supposed to be waking these people up. We'll send more, but you need to start waking people up. And I'm like, huh? Like, that's part of my mission. I didn't quite get the whole message. But the other entity came back and was like, had this, I'd say it's about yay big, bigger than a bowling ball, less than a beach ball. But there was like just like a lava lamp. Have you ever seen a lava lamp while it's moving around with that junk inside it? I don't know what that is, but it looked a lot like that. It was like sparkly. There's white, there's red, there's orange, there's even some black in there. And this ball is sealed clear around the outside. And he's holding it and walking back like it had some weight to it. And he's like, here, you gave this to me to give this to you when this happened, and just went phew, and threw it at me. And in that half a second, as it's flying towards me, I'm like, wait, I don't have any arms. And it hit me like a brick, bro. And in that moment, now mind you, in the background, that download was still happening. And I was asking God all kinds of questions, but yet my subconscious went to this level. And in the moment that they threw this ball at me, bro, my eyes open and there's that same nurse or whatever is rubbing on my sternum to wake me up, and my eyes pop open and I'm kind of like in 2 seconds ago I was trying to catch this big ball, and now my eyes are awake and I'm in the physical. My whole body's like humming and staticky. And he's like, oh, okay, good, you're awake. He's like, hey, do you know your name? And I said my name, like Bryan Duszczak. He's like, good, good, you can talk, you're not slurring. He's like, do you know where you are? And first thing out of my mouth, I said, I better be in a flipping hospital because I feel like shit. And he started laughing too. And he's like, yeah, good, 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 you can talk. He's like, look, man, good news, bad news. You just had I think it was ischemic stroke while you were in here. We gave you the uh, like clotting stuff to break up the clot, and then you had a hemorrhagic stroke while we were working on you. And he's like, look, man, you've got about 8 minutes. The clot broke up, and one's traveling to your brain, one's traveling to your lungs, and one's traveling back to your heart. He's like, you're about to have a widowmaker. He's like, here's the knockout juice. He's got his thumb on a syringe and it's going into my line that's in my arm. And he's like, you're going to be out for 8 to 12 hours. We're about to give you this shot, and then we're going to crack your ribs open, and we have to do open heart surgery on you before the clot hits your heart. And I can't really explain it, bro, but I didn't consciously say the words that are about to come out of my mouth. I didn't consciously move my arm, but my arm went on top of his hand as his thumb was on the plunger to give me that knockout juice. And the words that came out of my mouth, I said, no, we're not having any surgery today. Take me to a private room. I know exactly what I need to do. I need water, I need citrus, and I need aspirin immediately. And I'm telling you, bro, I'm aware. I was like the observer that I'm saying, and this is happening with my hand, but immediately you could see all the hairs on his arms stood up on edge, bro. There was a static around us, an energy that it's so hard to explain, but it was powerful. He started shaking, and I don't know if you've ever seen anybody on LSD, but his pupils went from normal to like 4 times the size, as if I had just done like a Jedi mind trick voodoo on him or something. He started shaking, and he took his thumb off of the syringe, and he pulled it out of my line, and he put it on the cart that was with him, and he's like, I believe you. I'll take you to a private room. He said, you're going to have to sign some paperwork, but let me go get you that aspirin, the water, and the citrus. I'll be right back. And he pushed me into a room. And I remember he said something to a nurse who came in, and she's like, sir, you need to have that surgery right now. Like, you've got less than 8 minutes. That clot's going to go back to your heart. You're about to have a heart attack. And I'm like, no, I know what I need to do. And she wanders off, and the OR doctor had just got himself prepped and cleaned up. He's literally walking in like this, and he's like, yeah, I'm Dr. such and such. And he's like, you need to go. We should have cut you open 2 minutes ago, sir. You need to have this, or that clot's going to come back, and you're going to have a widowmaker. And just as he's saying that, they made me, some lady, like some Hillary Clinton's little sister, I like to say, came in and made me sign some release paperwork, so they're not responsible because I'm rejecting, this open heart surgery. I just signed that, and this guy comes in with a tray. There's like grapefruits, oranges, limes, lemons, and just immediately I'm like, I need that. I started peeling them, and he dropped 4 aspirins and 2 pitchers of water. I started crushing those with the actual pitcher themselves. They gave me no tools. I dropped that in the water. I'm chugging aspirin water, and with the core of my being, bro, I didn't want to eat the fruit. I was compelled to eat the peels. So I'm, peeling these, but I'm not going for the fruit. I started munching on the actual citrus peels. I started with the lime, then I went some of the orange, and then some of the grapefruit, and I'm just mushing it in my mouth and drinking this aspirin water, which is horrible, by the way. I couldn't get enough of it. Like, I'm literally just, and they're like, just, what are you doing, sir? You need to go have the surgery right now. You've got like 5 minutes left. And I'm like, trying to munch it down and get it in my mouth. And I could hear the, how you've got your heart sensors on and you've got the heartbeat at dee dee, dee dee, and it's doing that, but it started doing something very irregular, just, something weird. And in that moment, bro, I felt, I could only explain it as a pop and then like a squish. It almost as if like a jellyfish had just popped into my heart. It had this weird, almost like a tail feeling. You could feel it, the clock. And my heart is not doing what it's supposed to be doing on this monitor. And in that moment, man, I heard that voice of God again, and it just said, cough hard, cough now. and don't stop coughing. I literally heard it, but yet telepathically, not with my ears. And I didn't question it, you know. I just, and I kept doing that maybe 7, 8 times. My mouth got a little dry. I chugged a little more water, and I kept doing it. And this is all occurring within a minute span. And I just, I'm coughing, and then I felt another pop, and then that squish again. And they're getting the what do you call them, the shockers. They're charging them up. They're getting them ready to literally zap me in my heart. And I'm just like, chewing on this. I'm coughing, and all of a sudden, man, that second pop happened, and my heart was a little irregular for like maybe 1 or 2 beats, and then just dee 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 dee. It was a little off still, but at least it was regular again. The orderly, like I think there was maybe 3 nurses there, and then the surgery doctor, who's still standing here like this, is just looking at me like, how did you know how to do that? And I said, I can't really explain it, but while I was out, I had a conversation with God, and he told me to do that. They're like, sir, you just had a full on like widowmaker heart attack right in front of us. We've never seen this before. Like, how did you know how to do that? And I'm just like, again, I can't really explain it, but I just had a conversation with God, and I just did what he told me to do, plain and simple. And they monitored me for 2 more days, bro. And on the third day, they're like, well, I guess you're good, and let me out. And then since then, man, I've been having lots of weird downloads, especially the last few weeks. But I know you talk to a lot of NDEers. You ever experienced anything similar to that? Because I'm just trying to find answers, brother.
Yeah, similar. There was some that there's a point where there were souls stuck right above Earth,
Yeah, well,
right, the
they were
drowning and
in
such.
the in between, yeah.
So like I'm wondering if like those souls are pe- people who experience the void, right? They're not all the way there yet, but they're still in this dark space where they haven't yet crossed over one way or the other.
In some forms I would say ghosts, but yet I don't know if other people can see them, but they're definitely in the in between, man. And I don't know if they're stuck in a cycle where they don't realize they're past. They're still clinging on to the 3D, much like I was moments ago when I was standing in the hospital and I was in panic mode. That's where they are. Does that make sense? They're in that in between, but maybe God hasn't answered them yet, but I like mine was within 5 seconds of dying. God was right there. So I don't know what they're going through, but I knew when I upped to that next frequency, I realized like I had been in that place. I have been one of the entities that help these people in the in between. That's why I could see them. That's why I could hear them. That's why they were communicating to me. Like I was feeling their call, their questions, the same things that those other 2 entities. You could actually tell those 2 entities were kind of understaffed, if that makes sense. Like there's a lot going on down there on Earth, and there's only a few of them that are able to help these people in between. And like looking back, I realized that I was one of them before. I was one of the entities that help these people in the in between. And for whatever reason, I know that I have this mission here. So I feel like I had somehow maybe volunteered to come here. And all I know is like from what I remember, that I'm supposed to help raise the vibration of the planet, but I don't know what that means exactly. But I know that I'm somebody who's supposed to be doing that. And that's why I'm here right now. And I'm just trying to figure it out as I go, brother.
when I listened to the story the other day, it connected a lot of things for me, and I hear this stuff all the time, right? Um, and I don't know if you said it in the first of all, is this your second podcast?
Yes.
Awesome. Did you, when you separated from your body, did you hear anything like in that moment?
Yes. I compare it to like kind of like Velcro being ripped apart very slowly. There was this just and then boom, I'm not in my body. And it was during that time where I watched the back of my head fall. It was that very second. As soon as I saw the back of my head, that's when I heard that sound.
All right. So often, I hear it often. That's really the only way they can describe it. It's either a Velcro sound or a loud pop, or like an explosion, like a loud pop. But when you said it, it hit me that the Velcro, and I had this like image of like static electricity. So you imagine your soul being an electric being and your body being the conductor or whatever. I don't know the technical terms, but it was being ripped away, and I imagined a sock and a shirt coming out of the dryer and the static cling, right? And it was basically your soul detaching, unbinding from your human body.
Yes.
And I just, listening to you say it, I, I was able to like put something behind it, and now I imagine every time I hear it, a sock being statically unclinged from a shirt, right?
That when you say static, there is something to that. I can't explain it, but it's a reoccurring thing throughout this experience to where you could feel. Have you ever been astral before by chance? There's a feeling when you come back. There's this energy, this static of whatever that is, you coming back in, but that's literally the same feeling, but yet I'm on the other side of it. I am the static. I am not the human form. It's
So there's a lot of things that came to me listening to your story. But the Velcro and the static cling with the sock came to me. And then the silver cord that comes with astral projecting, I kind of now imagine that as, because if we're like these light beings, we're electricity or whatever, if you want to look at it like that, that is like your electrical current keeping connected to your body, right? So that's the cord. And along with the Velcro, you hear a loud pop. So when like if you were to stick a fork into the wall, into the outlet, it's gonna make this loud pop. So some people um, are quick with it and they get the pop, and some people like you had the Velcro, which was just this slow peel away from your body. So listening to your story like made me allowed me to kind of see some things differently and in a way that I think others can understand also maybe. At the same time, the multiple God thing, or multiple names for the same God or same entity, because often people will be like, I was in the presence of Jesus, or I was in the presence of Buddha, or whatever the case is. This being, this thing is what they label it here on Earth. So it's a different name for everybody, but
yeah,
but it's the same thing, right? Um,
yes.
there's no right name for it. It whatever you name it is right for you. Um,
And I've been looking into NDEs since this, and you're 100% on target, man. I feel like whatever it is that they've gone through as far as that physical embodiment that they were when they passed, that whatever they believed in at the time is what is shown. If you're a Buddhist, you're going to see Buddha. Although it's still God, you're going to see what you need to see to make your transition maybe more gentle, or just coming from the stem. Some people see angels, people have seen Krishna, people have seen just angels, people have seen Satan, the devil, and demons, if maybe they're coming from a darker place. Some only see relatives, but I think it's all still the same root. It's all coming from God. There's no question.
you didn't get a live review, did you?
Um, I know people do, but I feel that I'm gonna kind of say no. My karma's been real clean. I think I just got a literally a millisecond glimpse of that, and it was like kind of like a fast access pass. You know what I mean? Like the quick line at Great America or whatever. Like just like, hey man, you've been good in this lifetime. You're good. Let's get you back at where you got to go, instead of going through trials, tribulations, and remorse and regrets and all that. I've cleared that space prior to when I died. So I was kind of like, now let's just focus on getting you to where you got to go.
What would you say your mission is?
That's what was very clear to me. There was the point where I was talking to that, not God entity, but the two, like I'll call them helpers. When one stepped away, I was like, I need to know my mission. And like, we need more help. And I'm telling you, man, he actually said, like, there are other spiritual warriors down there waiting for you to unlock them. Your job is to find these warriors, or helpers or spiritual people, and help raise the vibration of the planet. And basically, that was the summarization of what I gathered from all that.
Someone says, sounds like you're an elder soul. Have you read The Journey of Souls
Uh-uh.
by Michael Newton? Elder soul is a soul that's done this numerous times. Looks
But
like
man,
this.
since then, oh, you have it. Yeah, I see it online right now. But yeah, I'll definitely look into that because I'm curious. I know there's more to do. I've been compelled to do things. I'm seeing more things. I'm feeling a lot more. It's kind of hard to explain, man.
How long ago did this happen?
July 9th, 2018 is
Okay,
when I
so
had my stroke.
not too long ago.
But since then, man, I all those downloads that I got, little things are coming out, where I remembered like, oh, moringa seeds, those have many micronutrients in it. I don't know what they do for my body, but I've been taking them. I had severe allergies and a lot of mucus buildup right after all that. So I started taking sea moss and that fixed it. And then the intermittent fasting I've been doing, I'm back down to 158 right now from, like I said, like 200 and I think 60-ish at my peak. And then when I had the stroke, I was somewhere in the low 200s at the time when it happened. But I've, lost all that bad weight from taking the advice from the downloads that I received.
After this happened, who did you tell first, and how did they handle it?
Didn't even tell my wife. I didn't tell anybody. Um, Up until like last year, I've been writing things down so that I remember, and then I'd kind of dwell on it or meditate on it to remember more. So I'd edit that and then write down more, and have just been constantly adding to that. And only early this year decided to start sharing that with people and speaking about it because I know there's something to that I'm supposed to be doing. I'm just trying to figure out what it is exactly.
How do they handle it? How do you get skeptics, and how do you handle skeptics?
At this point, I just accept it. Something that's happened to me. I think it's important. At first, I was scared what other people would think. My friends are going to razz the crap out of me about this, especially, dealing with all these veteran patriotic types, prior to this. If I tell any of them this, they're going to laugh, they're going to poke fun. But I'm at the point where I don't really care anymore because my mission is more important. You know what I mean? So getting it out there, finding other people that have a calling, finding other people that are trying to be spiritual, finding people that are feeling a calling as well. A lot of them are creeping out of the woodwork lately, and I know it's all part of it. So at this point, I don't care about skeptics. Uh, I've had a couple people that were like, "Yeah, whatever, you're making it all up." How do you make up any of that? Literally getting through a widowmaker based off of the download that I got from God. Even the doctors were stunned by that. So they don't have to believe it, but it's definitely what happened. So I just kind of the naysayers will fall away. I'm just more focused on the people that kind of get it, feel that tug, that pull, that want to know more, that have a calling as well.
I don't know if on the podcast you sent me if they referred you to ions.
I've heard of ions. That's the near death studies, right?
Yeah, there's also NDERF, near death experience research foundation. Those are
I've had
both
that
good.
in the back of my head, and you just reopen that up. What was the other one?
NDERF, NDERF, near death experience research foundation, and that's ran by Dr. Long.
Yeah, I'm looking at Jeffrey Long right here.
There you go.
All right. Well, yeah,
Um,
I appreciate that.
so
I'll definitely look into that.
iands.org, IANDS, has a conference yearly, and that one's coming up. I think your story would be a good one, and I guarantee they'd invite you to be a speaker if that's something you want to do.
That'd be cool.
You can also share your story to those websites, and I'm sure Dr. Long will contact you. Love to talk to you about it.
Yeah, for sure.
I see a book in your future.
That's actually a consideration. I keep, the algorithm's chasing me. I don't know if this is happening to anybody else, but the more I talk about this, the more the algorithm and social media is prompting me. I get probably 5 startup books every day, about how to upload this to AI. It's just I'm kind of financially screwed at the moment, so I haven't been able to move to the next phase yet. I've been called to start an omnis church. That's my next phase. I became a minister since then, although not fully just Christian. I am definitely an omnis, so I'm being compelled to start like an omnis type church where it's an open door church. If you believe in God, I want to talk to you. If you're seeking something, I want to talk to you. If my story and you're feeling a calling and you think you're a spiritual warrior, those are the people I want to talk to.
I'm going to ask you questions that I ask every guest. What is your definition of the meaning of life?
As an omnist, or if you're familiar with the law of one, I think we are all fractals of God experiencing, and that's it. He wants us to create and create. He's learning through us. He's experiencing through us. So that's my definition. We're God experiencing, we're fractals of God experiencing, and we're just here to create.
If you had one message for the world, what would it be?
I'm going to say purify. Purify your body, purify your mind, purify your soul. Do the best you can. Look for the positive, look for love, and, just be good people.
Would you mind if people reached out to you?
Please do.
Can you
Please
let
do.
us know? Let us know how to reach out to you.
I guess the best way right now is if you have Facebook. It's just my first name, Bryan, last name Duszczak. And then also my email, I guess, is Wolfpack, WOLFPAHK01 at yahoo.com, if you want to keep it on the down low, I guess.
I'll link everything in the description, and they can easily click that and reach out to you. I hope people do. I see this story going really far. I'm glad I'm here early and you get to share it with me. I'm glad I clicked on your link, and didn't think it was. I'm glad I found out it wasn't spam, because it was a good link. You have a good story, and
Well, that's how I found you, bro. I got online and I'm searching for other podcasters that want to talk to people that had NDEs, and you're one of the first that popped up. So I found your contact information and reached out to you like that, hoping to make this connection, and here we are. So I'm glad.
well, I appreciate you doing that. Your story, like I said, it helped me. I don't know if it was a mixture of things, but it helped me kind of connect dots on some things that I hear all the time. But it helped me with a better understanding and some to back those things with. So I feel like that's one of your missions. Be kind, spread love, raise vibration, help people understand that you're more than a body, right?
I've been compelled, man. Throughout this lifetime, I've been through a lot of things, dealt with traumas, dealt with health issues, and got past. I'm on the other side of all that. So I know that with what I've compiled in this brain of mine, it's part of it that I want to pull people from the dark recesses, the low vibes, the anger, the trauma, the frustrations, the health problems. I'm supposed to be sharing that with other people to help them. And as those people get better and those people get help, then like I said, we're doing that thing, raising the vibration. So if I can get the people that are going through the darkest of the dark and rise them up as well, we're just going to raise faster. That's all part of it. So I know that's why I started the church, the Omnis Church, to be able to do that. I want to stream. I want to podcast. I want to go live. I want to have Google Meets with thousands of people in there, all helping those people. I know that's part of it, and I'm just at that cusp right now. Like I literally just got incorporated, so I'm trying to move in that direction. I'm just not doing the greatest in the 3D financially right now, but I'm trying to get people to that next step. I know there's a lot of stuff happening spiritually, if you're familiar with Lionsgate Portal and all the other things that are happening, and there's a great awakening happening, man, and I want to be a big part of it. I know I'm meant to.
We're planting seeds. It's 11/11, FYI. We're planting seeds, and hopefully someone waters that seed and does something with it. Hey guys, thanks for joining me on the Light You Are podcast. If you want to support this channel, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification button so you never miss an episode. Also, if you haven't checked out my children's book, The Light You Are, it's available only on Amazon. We're all just trying to remember who we are, the light we are.
Yeah, I'm back. It took a while.